Hi, my name is JT from China. Thank you for purchasing the Ultimate Invisible Palm. This version of the classic invisible palm plot was created by my good friend Harry G. Harry is one of the best close-up magicians from China. I really love this routine. And now let me teach you how to do this beautiful routine. Let's have a look at the gimmick cards. We have 2 gimmick cards in total. The first card is a special printed gimmick card. As we can see, in the center of this card, it is a heart pip. And on this pip, it is an Ace of Clubs. And on this pip, it is an Ace of Diamonds. We can see 3 aces on one card. Besides of the special printing, we also paint roughing fluid on this card. But we don't paint the whole card. We only paint the middle 1/3 of this card. We paint roughing fluid on this area. This roughing fluid is not an ordinary roughing fluid. It's a special one. We only need to paint one side of the card. So this card has the same function with the roughing fluid by 2 sides. And the back of this card is normal. Let's have a look at the second card. The face of the second card is an Ace of Spades. It's a normal Ace of Spades. But on the back of it, we also have this special kind of roughing fluid. We also don't paint the whole card. We only paint the lower 1/3 of this card. We paint roughing fluid on its back. As we know, the Ace of Spades is a one-way card. That means this half and this half doesn't look the same. And we paint roughing fluid on the back of this 1/3, not this 1/3. When we look at the face, we can know where the roughing fluid is. That's the special cards. Let's talk about the setting. You need to prepare a deck of cards. The color of this deck must correspond to the color of your gimmick cards. Then you need to take out the 4 aces. And we need to remove the Ace of Spades. We don't use it anymore. We only need to use the Ace of Hearts, the Ace of Clubs, and the Ace of Diamonds. First, we take the gimmick Ace of Spades and let this side to point forward. Then we turn this card over like this and put it on your left hand. So now the roughing fluid is on this side. It's near you. Then you take the Ace of Diamonds and put it face down on the Ace of Spades. Next, you take your special printed gimmick card. You let the Ace of Diamonds point forward and let the Ace of Clubs point to you. Then you put this card face down on the 2 cards. Next, you take the Ace of Clubs. Finally, you take the Ace of Hearts. Now, you turn over the whole packet and reverse the order of these cards. We spread the 4 cards in the middle. Because of the roughing fluid, the second card will be a double card because there is roughing fluid here. So when you spread the middle, it will form this situation. First, you put the ace of spades. Then you put the double card on the ace of spades. Then the ace of clubs. And finally, the ace of hearts. You reverse the order of these 5 cards. Finally, you put the ace packet on the face of the deck. Now, the setting is done. Let's talk about the routine. First, you need to deal the 4 aces one by one on the table. When you deal the 4 aces, please push the center part of the cards because there's ruffing fluid on the card. We need to deal a double card in the 4 aces. First, we deal the single ace of hearts. Next, the single ace of clubs. And the next card is a double. We deal it on the 2 cards. Finally, we deal the ace of spades. We don't need to use the whole deck, so we put the remaining of the cards away. We don't use them anymore. Next, we can take the 4 aces and spread them from the center. Because of the ruffing fluid, this card will be a double. The ruffing fluid is here, so please spread from the center. Next, we square the ace packet and turn the ace packet over like this. It's very important to turn over the 4 cards like this because we want the ruffing fluid on the ace of spades to be here, to be on your side. It's very important. So please pay attention to the direction. Next, we spread the 4 aces again, but this time we spread from the bottom part. Because the positions of the ruffing fluid are not the same. There is ruffing fluid on this card, but the ruffing fluid is in the center. And the ruffing fluid on the ace of spades is here. So when you push different places, the cards will go to different situations. So when this time we spread from the bottom card will form a double, just like this. But you can also show the cards like this again. Then you put the bottom double card on the table. When you put down the double card, because the ruffing fluid is on the bottom, so you hold the cards here near the bottom part, and then you put the double card on the table. It will be very safe. Next, you transfer the 3 cards from your right hand to your left hand. Simultaneously, we use it as an intransit action to use your right hand to move the double for a very short distance. Because of the ruffing fluid, the double card will not separate. So it is a very good subtlety to show the spectators this card is a single. And the order of the 3 cards on your left hand is like this now. Next, you want to show the ace of diamonds to the spectator. So you need to move the bottom card to the top. So you can show the top card is an ace of diamonds. Next, we take the top card like this. We turn it over, and then we do a tent move. You pretend to palm the card here, but actually you release your left thumb to let this card drop on the other cards. It looks like this. You pretend to palm the card. Okay? Now, you spread the 2 cards on your left hand from the center because there's rubbing fluid on the center part of the gimme card. You spread like this. So the spectators will think the ace of diamonds is palmed by your right hand. And now you open your fingers to show this card is becoming invisible now. You can show your palm of your hand, and then you separate the 2 cards on the table. Because there is rubbing fluid here, so when you separate the double, you separate from here. So there will be no friction, and it will be very easy to separate the double. Next, you show the ace of diamonds has arrived. Next, you turn over the ace of spades like this. The direction to turn over the card is very important because we always want the rubbing fluid to be on your side, to be near you. Then you pick up the ace of spades and use the ace of spades to scoop up the ace of diamonds and turn the 2 cards over. Next, you transfer the 2 cards, actually the 3 cards, from your left hand to your right hand. But the next step is to do a Vernon transfer. So when you transfer the 2 cards from your left hand to your right hand, you exchange the places of these 2 cards. Simultaneously, you turn over the 2 cards and put it in your right hand. Okay? I will show it to you again, just like this. So now, you use your right hand to hold the 2 cards, but your right pinky is at the outer right corner of the ace of clubs, and your left thumb is at the inner left corner of the ace of clubs. Okay, so it's the position ready for a Vernon transfer. Then you do the Vernon transfer. You use your left hand to take the double card. And your 2 hands move forward together. When your 2 hands arrive above the 2 cards on the table, you use your right hand to pick these 2 cards up. Simultaneously, you load this palmed card on the 2 cards. And at the same time, you separate the double with your left hand. So, in the spectator's point of view, you just use your right hand to pick up the 2 cards on the table. I will show it to you again. Okay? And then you use your right hand to take this part of the 3 cards. Because of the rubbing fluid, you show the 2 cards like this. You separate the 2 cards to show it is spade and diamonds on your hand. And then you put these 2 cards on the table. Next, you pick up these 2 cards to show the next card is the ace of clubs. Next, you put this card in this position, and you are going to do a rub-a-dub vanish, or somebody call it sweep away, vanish. You pretend to palm this card. At the same time, you use your left thumb to move this card here. And now you line up the two cards. Simultaneously, you need to flip over your wrist. Okay, so the three actions happen at the same time. Then you can do this subtlety. Because of the roughing fluid, you can move this double for a very short distance. So this subtlety will let the spectators to believe this is a single card. And now the spectators believe the ace of clubs is palmed in your hand. And now you show this card is invisible now. And then you separate the double on the table. Next, you show the ace of clubs has arrived. Next, you turn over these two cards. Please pay attention to the direction of the roughing fluid. Next, you pick up the ace of spades. You use the ace of spades to scoop up the other two aces and flip them over. So please remember, always keep the ace of spades on top. Next, you pick up the ace of hearts, but you don't need to pick them up very carefully. Because of the roughing fluid, you can drag the double on the table and then you pick the double up. Next, you show the ace of hearts to the spectators again. And you use your right hand to come here to take the double. Next, you use your right thumb to push the top card over. Next, you take this top card and transform the real ace of hearts into Tenkai palm. At the same time, you use your right hand to pick up the cards on the table and you put this gimme card on the table. And the situation of the gimme card is like this. The ace of clubs is point forward. The ace of diamonds is point to yourself. Okay, and I will show it to you again. Okay, next we take the cards like this. Because of the roughing fluid is here, so we can spread these three cards like this. And the double is here. Next, we put the cards on the table. Finally, we pick up the gimme card like this, because this is a miscorner card. You take the cards here to show the spectators this is a heart. Now the attention of the spectators will be here. They will see this is an ace of hearts, and they won't notice the little diamond. And you just flash it to the spectators. In such a short time, they won't notice there's something wrong. But if you are afraid of that, or you are in a very formal situation, such as you are doing a TV show or you are shooting a video, you can also pick the card up like this. You can use your left index finger to cover this little diamond. Just like this. So it will be 100% safe. Next, you lean your body back and ready to do a lapping. Before the lapping, you can really palm the card first. You can do it as a feint. Then you can use some reason to put this card back. Maybe you want to sweep your hand. And then you do the lapping. The lapping is very simple. When you want to lap the card, when your right hand cover the card, you use your left index finger to push this card backward, and the card will drop behind the table, just like this. And finally, you show the last card is invisible now, and you separate the double on the table, and you show the last card has arrived. Finally, you can show all the aces to the spectators. Now you end clean. Here is a tip for vanishing the last card, this gimme card. If you don't want to do the lapping, you can take the whole deck and you can vanish this card on top of the deck. You can do a rub-a-dub-dub vanish, and after you have done the slide, you can spread the card on the table to show the top card has vanished. Because of the ruffing fluid, the gimme card will be hidden here. And finally, you show the spectators this card has vanished. Here is a tip to move the double card. Maybe sometimes your fingers are very sticky. Maybe sometimes this will happen. To avoid this situation, you can use your fingertip to move the card. Before your finger leaves, you use your nail to contact the top card, and then you leave from your nail, so the double will not be sticked up by accident. Here is a tip for this one-way card. As we know, the ruffing fluid is here. If you are not familiar with the direction, you can make a mark. You can use your Sharpie to make a dot here, or you can use a knife to scratch out some color to make a mark. So you will know where the ruffing fluid is. Finally, thank you for purchasing the Ultimate Invisible Palm again. Hope you like this routine.